Hocus Pocus by Pegasus Rescue Brigade, Chapter 9.
So, let me get this straight.
Heidi panted as she struggled to keep up with friends.
We're going to rescue Scuffle?
Yep, Dinky said bluntly as he pushed open a large door with her magic and dashed her to the stairwell behind it.
You do realize we can't do a thing against Zobba's brothers?
Heidi pointed out.
We can't,
Dinky agreed.
But if we can get back to the residents' house before they do, maybe the overseers can. But that's hardly any better,
Honeydew argued.
If the Frostfire twins find out we're interfering with their intentions, then we'll be targeted. If Scorch and Frosty were after me, I'd waste no time dropping out of school.
We're not gonna let them find out, Curdy said. If we get there quick enough, we can let somebody know, and then get away before the twins and Scuffle even arrive. Why else would we be galloping through the school like our lives depended on it?
If we're too slow, we're going to get caught, so our lives kind of do depend on it.
I do depend. Exactly. Run faster. The fillies burst out of the side door of the castle and looked wildly around.
There's no sign of them,
Dinky said breathlessly.
Hopefully that means they're still in the castle. Hurry!
Dinky led the way as the trio climbed the stone incline, leading to the promontory on which the residence tower sat.
Okay, so you told me how we're helping Scuffle.
Honeydew continued, unwilling to let the topic drop.
But you haven't told me why. What reason has he given us to stick our necks out for him? He hasn't,
Dinky answered simply.
But right now, he needs our help. I know you don't like him. I don't like him much either. But I'm not going to let him keep beating out just because of that.
Honeydew tried to formulate another argument, but ran out of time as the three fillies reached the tower.
Sparkler!
Dinky called as he scurried into the building.
Are you here? We need your help!
The room was deserted. Dinky ran to Sparkler's private chamber and pushed open the door. The bedroom was littered with books, and bed covers were a mess, but there was no sign of the young mare.
She's not here, Dinky said. Now what?
Let's go see if Pegasus around, Clarity suggested.
Are you serious?
Honeydew asked.
Scorch and Frosty will be coming up the path any moment. We'll be caught.
Not if we hurry! Dinky and Clarity bolted from the tower. Honeydew shuddered, but after a moment's hesitation, she followed her friends. The fillies hammered on the door of the cult tower until it was opened by a confusing and looked blue unicorn. Hey, he said awkwardly. What is it?
Is Presto here?
Dinky asked frantically. She tried to lean past the cult to round the chamber, but her head collided with a hard, invisible surface. She quickly remembered the barrier spell, meant to keep fillies out, and backed up, blushing. Yeah, I think he's still in his room, the cult said. Could you go get him? Clarity asked. Like, right now. The cult nodded and shut the door, leaving the fillies out on the landing. Honeydew turned around and watched the path warily. For several minutes the fillies stood in silence, but nobody from within the tower came to the door. After a few minutes, Honeydew gave a fearful squeak and backed against her friends.
They're coming,
she said irritately.
I can see them down there. We just left the castle. That means they'll be here in about a minute.
Dinky turned back to the door, looked at her and hoped to knock again, but it swung open before she got the chance, revealing the black and white cult she was looking for. Hello, girls, Presto said pleasantly. Sorry for the delay. I was in the middle of helping a friend who lives at the top of the tower, so it took me a bit to get down here. I take it Sparkler's not around, since you've come looking for my help.
Thanks, said Dinky. There's not much time to explain. The Frostfire twins are coming, and they're not too happy with their younger brother right now. You've got to stop them from hurting him. Or us.
Honeydew added timidly. Presto didn't wait for further explanation. His horn lit up, and the girls were concealed with what Dinky realized was a powerful invisibility spell. Stay still, Presto mumbled under his breath. The cult left the filly standing out of the way, and slowly back into the residence tower, leaving the door open just a crack. Soon, the voices of the cults traveling up the path became audible. Come on, guys, Scuffle whined. This has got to be some kind of misunderstanding. I'm plenty tough. Us tough guys got to stick together. Right? Oh, sorry, bro, said Frosty with mock sympathy. You're not quite as tough as you think. But don't worry. Because we're such awesome brothers, we're gonna fix that for you. I know how you two fix problems, Scuffle mumbled. It's somewhat more painful than how most ponies fix problems. Well, you could decline our help, Scar said in the same patronizing tone as he continued to drag Scuffle along by the tail. But that'd just be worse. See, if you're not tough enough, you'll ruin our image. That means we have to treat you like every pony else. And you don't want to do that, do you, Scuff? Scuffle rolled his eyes. So, my options here are get roughed up, or get roughed up as a punishment for not letting you rough me up? Gee, what should I choose? You're in no position to mouth off. Frosty snapped as he yanked up at the magic. Be quiet, or when we get in there, we're really going to what, Frosty? Frosty jumped when he realized he came nose to nose with Presto. The big gray colt backed off rather quickly. Oh, hey, Presto, says Gortz, in a hot and positively dripping false goodwill. How's the overseer king coming along? Fine, said Presto sternly. Mind telling me what it is you're doing there, Scorch? Scorch realized Scuffle's tail was still suspended firmly in the magic grip. He dropped it and backed up until he was next to Frosty. Nothing, he insisted. Just having a little chat with Scuffle here. I'm sure you are, Presto said sarcastically. I think you two had better head inside for now, just to make sure you're keeping out of trouble. I need a moment to speak with Scuffle. Alone. Scar and Frosty exchanged a glance. You're the boss, Scar said. Come on, Frosty. Don't worry, Scuffle, Frosty said, grinning maliciously. We'll finish our little conversation later. The twins pushed past Presto and slammed the tower door, leaving the overseer with the younger brother. Scuffle soon embraced the gravel from his coat. So, what's up, Resto? He asked awkwardly. What did you have to talk to me about? Oh, nothing, really, Presto admitted. I was just helping you out of that sticky situation. I don't know what you did, but you of all points should know not to get on Scorch and Frosty's bad sides. Wait, you did that just to help me? Scuffle asked, surprised. Thanks. It's not me you want to thank, Presto chuckled. I wouldn't have been here to help if some pony didn't warn me about you were in trouble. Scuffle cocked his head. Some pony warned you? Get real, Presto. There isn't a single pony at the school who would go out of their way to help me. Apparently there are 3, Presto carried, and they are the ones you should be thanking. Presto finally dropped the invisibility spell, and Dinky, Clarity, and Honeydew looked at each other as their bodies came back into view. Scuffle's jaw dropped, and Presto smiled at the cult's reaction. I'll leave you for to chat, he said, turning toward the tower door. Do try to stay out of trouble, Scuffle. I doubt you're going to have a backup like this all the time. Presto nodded in farewell and disappeared into the tower. What was that all about? Scuffle asked. I didn't expect you 3 to actually help me. If Scorch and Frost had seen you with Presto, you would have been in trouble.
That's what I said,
Honeydew pointed out. Scuffle pointed at Honeydew and grinned. This filly gets it. Yet here you 3 are. I appreciate the help, but why did you bother? Dinky rolled her eyes.
Are Clarity and I the only ponies who don't think doing something simply because it's the right thing to do is strange?
She asked. Well, maybe I would have understood that if I was a stranger. Scuffle said, we're not exactly on the best of terms. I know I wouldn't have helped someone who put me through the kind of trouble I put you through. We're not on bad terms, Clarity pointed out. I call it something more like neutral terms now. We can't erase the past, but we know you're trying to be kinder. Heck, that's how you wound up in that situation in the first place. True, Scuffle mumbled. Well, thanks a lot for the help. It's not going to change anything, though. My brothers are great at singling me out and cornering me. I don't have any friends to keep an eye on me, and get a professor or an overseer like you girls just did. It's only a matter of time until they give me their lesson in being the kind of pony they're willing to respect. Dinky furrowed her brow.
You don't have any friends?
She asked. Why would I? Scuffle asked bitterly. Up until now, I've been either ignoring every pony or treating them like I treated you three, just so I could keep my brothers from turning on me. Now that that's happened, I'm kind of on my own. Scuffle's expression seemed indifferent as usual, but Dinky couldn't help but feel that the colt was simply hiding his feelings.
Let me ask you something, Scuffle,
Dinky said leftly.
Does that bother you at all?
Scuffle shrugged. I guess, he admitted. I'm used to it, though. It's already too late for me to make any friends at the school. Dinky looked at her friends.
You're thinking what I'm thinking, right?
Clarity nodded. Honeydew looked alarmed, but said nothing. After a moment, Dinky turned back to Scuffle, and the colt just stared at her, looking bewildered.
Listen, Scuffle,
She said quietly.
Now that you're on your brother's bad side anyway, there's no more reason for you to act like a big bully, right?
I guess, Scuffle said once again. Dinky extended a hoof.
Well then, I'll be your friend, Scuffle, if you want.
Scuffle eyed the filly's outstretched hoof disbelievingly. You're just going to overlook what I've done? He asked. You're not serious, are you?
I am serious, said Dinky. I'll treat you like a friend, if you're willing to treat me like one.
Scuffle blinked. Well, I didn't think you know, give me another chance, he stammered.
Any pony who's willing to change deserves another chance, Dinky assured him. Now, are you interested or not? I'm tired of holding up my foreleg.
Scuffle smiled. The expression caught Dinky by surprise. It wasn't a smirk or a devious grin, just a plain old pleased smile. He reached out and shook her hoof. All right, yeah, friends. I'm up to Sue, Clarity announced. Dinky and I hang out together all the time anyway, so there's hardly a reason not to be friends too. Scuffle shook Clarity's hoof as well. Thanks, Clarity, he said sincerely. I'll try my best to do the same. Scuffle turned to Honeydew. The pink filly stared back at him, expressive vacant. Scuffle raised his hoof halfway, and Honeydew drew back another pace and turned and looked at the ground. Scuffle cleared his throat awkwardly. Right, I kind of figured that might happen. Totally understandable. Honeydew chanced to glance in Scuffle's direction before reaffixing her gaze firmly to the earth. All right, Scuffle said, trying to move the conversation past the uncomfortable lull. Dinky, Clarity, I'll see you two soon. I hope. And thanks again for what you did with Presto and all.
Don't mention it, Dinky said. See you later.
Scuffle waved, and after another final glance at Honeydew, he turned and trotted off to the castle. The next 2 weeks were particularly busy. The term, which ran from spring until late autumn, was just about to reach its halfway point. The students prepared for the inevitable change in their schedules. Some elective classes only ran for half the term, and were replaced with new ones once the second half began. Dinky spent some time finishing the papers and projects for the classes that were coming to a close, but luckily, only a few were leaving her weekly schedule, so she and her friends still found a little time to get together. Scuffle remained rather introverted. He sat with the girls during meals and occasionally joined them to study, but usually kept quiet while doing so. Dinky often tried to include him, but whenever she got him to open up and participate more actively in a conversation or activity, Honeydew would become more reserved, or even come up with an excuse to leave for a while. Dinky found herself unable to do much, other than hope Honeydew would warm up to the cult in time. So far, Scuffle seemed to be avoiding the full force of his brother's grudge toward him. He told Dinky that Presto had begun to keep a closer eye on the three of them while they were in the residence tower, which quickly proved a very useful change. Dinky spent more time with Sunbeam as well. His schedule gave him plenty of free time to coincide nicely with Dinky's, and the two of them headed to the deserted classroom several times a week to practice the strange, alternative magic while Clarity, Honeydew, and Scuffle were in class. Soon, the last day of the first portrait of the term had arrived. Dinky sighed in relief as the bell rang, bringing her half-year in magic and history class to a close for the last time. She swiveled in her seat to face Sunbeam. The colt smiled in greeting.
Hi, Sunbeam, the filly said. Looks like we made it through the first half of the term.
Looks like it. Yes, it does. Sunbeam agreed. So, are you up for a little practice today? Dinky frowned.
I don't know, Sunbeam. I'm still tired from last time. These spells are hard work.
Oh, well, could we just do a short session? There's one new spell I really wanted us to try. Yes, there is. Dinky chuckled.
You really are dedicated to this stuff, aren't you? She asked. Fine. I guess just a little practice wouldn't hurt.
That's the spirit. Yes, it is. Sunbeam cheered. Come on, we'll go right now. Yes, we will. Sunbeam tried down the hallway, clearly thrilled. Dinky fell into step next to him. So, do you feel like your body is adjusting to the magic yet? Sunbeam asked. I bet by now it feels less strange than the first time you tried it. Yes, I do. Dinky nodded.
Yeah, it doesn't take much effort to bring the magic into my heart anymore, she admitted. It's still really weird, though. My body has stopped fighting back when I try to summon the spells, but there's still something in the back of my mind that just doesn't feel right. I can't put my hoof on what, but something about those spells still bothers me a bit.
Maybe your mind is just playing tricks on you. Yes, it is. Sunbeam suggested. Perhaps deep down you still don't feel right, because your body is trained to expect spells to behave in a certain way. The mind's hesitation to use those spells outlasts the body's unwillingness to cast them. Yes, it does.
So, that nagging feeling will go away on its own?
Definitely, Sunbeam replied. Just practice with me for a little while longer. You'll soon find the difference between casting regular spells and alternative spells just disappears. Sunbeam gave an unsettling chuckle that turned into more of a gurgle. Dinky stopped and stared at him, slowly raising an eyebrow. Sorry, the cult mumbled. I have a bit of a cold. Yes, I do. A look of distraction appeared in the form of the door to the abandoned classroom. Sunbeam pushed it open, and the foals entered the room.
So, what's this special spell you mentioned?
Dinky asked impatiently.
Let's give it a few tries so I can get going. It's been a busy week, and I need a break.
It's a spell you could probably find very useful. Yes, it is. Sunbeam proclaimed. It's a fiery conjuring spell. A similar spell exists within the realm of normal magic, of course. But they don't teach it here until the third year of our study. No, they do not. Dinky looked around the room.
But there's no fireplace in here, she pointed out. It's just wood pals. We wouldn't practice fire spells on a flammable floor.
Quite right. Yes, you are, Sunbeam said. Wait right here. Sunbeam tried to the blackboard and felt around for a chalk, finding a half-used stub from a long-forgotten class. He returned to Dinky's side and scribbled a series of interconnected triangles that formed a ring on the floor. Dinky looked at Sunbeam suspiciously.
Is that a magical symbol?
She asked. Yes, Sunbeam declared. It will prevent any concert spire from spreading beyond the edges of the design. Yes, it will.
But how did you even learn about those?
Dinky questioned.
You can't even take a class on the use of simple runes here until your second year. Compound symbols like that one are probably fourth term material.
Sunbeam swallowed. Well,
You're a nice cult, Sunbeam, but something about your background in magic just seems off, Dinky said. Like you know so many things that first term students aren't taught.
I just do a lot of research, Sunbeam said defensively. It's not like advanced spells are off limits to younger students. No, they are not. The library has an entire section on magical symbols. I just looked into safety reasons when practicing spells like this one. Yes, I did. Dinky sighed.
I guess that makes sense, she admitted. Sorry for accusing you. There's just something so different about you. I just can't figure out what.
Sunbeam pouted and looked at the floor. I bet that Goodbye when my speech is why all ponies avoid me. Yes, it is, he muttered. I thought you were a pony who looked beyond that. Yes, I did.
I am, Dinky insisted. I'm sorry, really. Come on, let's try your new spell.
Sunbeam's moon lifted instantly. Okay, just copy me, he said. Close horn erupted with black light. He lowered his horn and shot out a bolt of energy into the center of the ring. A powerful black and purple flame sprung up immediately, casting much more intense heat than Dinky had expected. She backed away from flames until the heat was no longer uncomfortable. The chalk lanes on the floor blazed with purple light, and as Sunbeam had promised, the fire did not extend past the circle. Sunbeam let it burn for a few more seconds, then cast another spell. The purple ring flashed light, and the fire was snuffed out as quickly as it had been conjured. Now, you try, he instructed. Call forth the magic, and imagine that spot consumed with black fire. Unleash the magic, unleash the magic. Dinky concentrated. Her body offered little resistance this time, allowing the alternative magic to flow into her horn. Dinky paid no heed to the blackness on her horn, or the violet energy around her eyes, as she focused on the chalk circle. The magic gave a loud crackle as Philly let it loose. And once again, black flames sprung up inside the ring.
Awesome, Dinky thought. With this, I can destroy anything with flame.
An instant later, she paused and shook her head forcefully.
Wait, what? Why were you thinking that? I don't want to use magic destructively.
Sunbeam noticed Dinky's apparent discomfort. Are you all right? You look shaken.
How do I cast a spell to put it out?
Dinky asked quickly. Just pour base magical energy into that circle, Sunbeam explained. The design is already meant to extinguish the fire when activated by magical energy. Dinky let her horn. A few more black sparks flew, but after a second, the usual yellow returned. The filly energized the circle, and the fire fades. Easy, yes? Sunbeam asked.
Yeah,
Dinky said breathlessly.
But I think I really better get going. I must really be tired. I'm not even thinking straight anymore.
Sunbeam nodded understandingly. Get some rest. Practice can wait until next week. Yes, it can. Sunbeam flashed a genial grin, and Dinky returned it. She trotted from the room as Sunbeam began to erase the chalk circle. Her reaction was intriguing. Yes, it was. He thought to himself, she is making progress just as quickly as I hoped. We only have to keep this secret for a while longer. And then, if she finds the truth, it will be too late. Yes, it will. The cult gave another gurgling chuckle as he turned the light from the orb and exited the room. All right, maybe I just need to adjust one of the light output layers. Which one do you think is messed up? Dinky looked up from the novel she was reading, long enough to roll her eyes.
Give it up, Clarity. The spell is beyond you.
Clarity stamped a hoof. It is not beyond me, she insisted. I am going to figure out this invisibility thing, if it kills me. It was Saturday afternoon. Dinky had chosen not to make the journey home to Ponyville this weekend. And she and Clarity were spending the afternoon, relaxing in the student lounge between the two residence towers. Or at least, Dinky was relaxing. Clarity had decided to jump a few chapters of the practical magic textbook and test out invisibility spells. Dinky couldn't help but giggle each time the Great Filly's attempts to lead to some bizarre color change or unnerving translucency. Quit laughing, Clarity whined. Her legs attempted visibility, as the invert the color of her mane, leaving it a fierce orange.
Sorry,
Dinky hiccuped, trying to force herself to stop giggling.
Why aren't you doing this anyway? Professor Morningstar doesn't expect any of us to have total visibility yet. It's way more complicated than the spells we've been practicing in class.
I know, but it was just so cool when Presto turned us invisible a couple of weeks ago, Clarity admitted. And I still say that my special talent must have something to do with illusion. If I could just manage a total invisibility spell, I'd get a cutie mark for sure.
You remind me of some friends back at Ponyville, Dinky said. They're always going out of their way to get their cutie marks. You'll get it when it's time to get it. No sense of worrying about it.
Cutie mark or no cutie mark, this is still an awesome spell, Clarity said stubbornly. Clarity tried to spell again. This time, she managed to match her color with the backdrop entirely. For a second, what did she manage to spell? But as soon as she moved, her position was revealed. The spell in her cult faded to change to match whatever it was behind her. Dinky had to cover her muzzle, a little huff to stop herself from bursting into laughter.
Did you really just change your coat to match the colors of everything around you?
She asked. Clarity snorted indignantly as the usual gray and blue hues returned. Hey, come on! It was the best attempt so far! She glowered at Dinky, but she couldn't hold back the mock-serious face for long. She soon dissolved into laughter. You have a point, though, the gray filly admitted. A very detailed color change isn't even the same ballpark as actual invisibility. But that doesn't mean I'm giving up, though.
At least take a break, Dinky urged. I'm going to be outside for a while. You should come too.
Go ahead. I'll catch up, Clarity said, lighting her horn again. I just want to give this a couple more tries. Dinky nodded and tried through the doorway connecting the communal lounge to the filly's tower. Just as he stepped through, the front tower door swung open as well, and a purple rump that clearly belonged to Sparkler backed into the room. I told you I'm not interested, Presto! Sparkler said forcefully as he stood in the doorway. Just leave me alone! I'm busy! Don't get so offensive, Presto replied from somewhere outside Dinky's range of vision. I only asked you if you felt like joining me for a game out on the grounds, since it's not a nice day. I don't have time, Sparkler said quickly. I don't know how you managed to be so laid back. You're an overseer for Celestia's sake! You always say you don't have time, Presto said more quietly. You've been saying that for 4.5 years now. There is no time left, Sparkler. Don't you want to have a little fun before we graduate and leave this place for good? I'm here to study and to perform my duties as an overseer, not to enjoy myself. Sparkler answered as he backed fully through the doorway. I don't want to go out and have fun. Don't want to? Presto asked. Or won't allow yourself to? Sparkler's horn flared as he slammed the door so hard the vibrations could be felt halfway up the tower. She turned and noticed Dinky standing by the lounge door. And what are you looking at? The older filly snarled. Dinky noticed Sparkler's expression was a little more severe than usual. The overseer was blinking back a few tears.
Nothing, Sparkler,
she replied quickly.
I was just on my way outside.
Well, get going, Sparkler hissed, turning away. I have lots to do, and I don't need you first two foals under hoof. Dinky hesitated.
Sparkler, is there something going on with you and Presto?
None of your business, Sparkler yelled, cutting Dinky off. Get out of here, now! Dinky sighed and hurried out the front door before Sparkler got any angrier.
What is exactly going on with Presto and Sparkler?
She wondered.
The cultist family is Presto can't exactly have something to do with the reason Sparkler's always such in a sour mood, can he?
Dinky looked back at the tower, where Sparkler most likely locked herself in the room, as usual.
Can't let myself be bothered by this, Dinky decided. I have enough things to deal with without getting wrapped up in overseer's business, too.
Trying her best to focus on something else, Dinky trotted away, leaving the tower and the grumpy overseer behind. On Monday at breakfast, Dinky and the other fillies took a moment to compare schedules and see if any of the first midterm changes would affect them. Well, we still have piratical magic, Clarity said absentmindedly as he pored over the chart. Enchantments and transformation and conjuring are full-year classes too.
Dinky and I still have magical biology.
Dinky looked down her list.
Do any of you have astronomy? She asked. My tutor suggested I sign up for that. Looks like I have it on Tuesday night.
Clarity shook her head, and after glancing quickly at Honeydew's schedule, shook it again. Sorry, Dinky. It looks like you're on your own for that one. Dinky shrugged.
Can't be any worse than having magical history without you two, she said. Are there any other new classes in there?
Clarity looked. I have magical artifacts on Friday, and it's in the afternoon, after transformation. Dinky had almost forgotten to check Friday, since he was so used to magic and history filling the afternoon slot. She grinned when she saw she too had been assigned to magical artifacts.
Looks like we'll have that one together,
she said, giving her tail a cheerful flick.
What about you, Honeydew? I have Friday afternoon open now,
Honeydew said.
This is good, because I have a class now on the day I used to go help Professor Chestnut with research. I'll have to talk to her about moving our weekly meeting.
Clarity glanced at the dog. Do that later, Honeydew, she said quickly. It's time for class. The new week played out much the same as usual, until the time came for Dinky's first astronomy class. The course was held late in the evening, as expected, and the usually busy castle seemed almost deserted for once, as Dinky made her way to the classroom. Or, at least, Dinky tried to make her way to the classroom. The astronomy hall was inside a turret in part of the castle the filly typically had no reason to pass through. After a few minutes of baffled wondering, she gave in and retrieved the map of the academy from her saddlebag. Dinky continued to trot aimlessly forward as she discerned the position on her map. Rounded a corner, colliding with another pony.
Oops, I'm sorry, she said quickly. I don't really know where I'm going in.
Dinky looked up from her map and realized the pony she ran into was none other than Scuffle. Dinky? the colt asked. Wasn't expecting to see you here. Oh, where are you headed this time of night?
Class, actually,
Dinky replied. Scuffle raised an eyebrow. At this hour? It's not astronomy, is it?
It is.
Scuffle raised his eyebrows. Well, how about that? I'm on my way there, too.
Oh, that's a relief, Dinky said. I thought I was going to be stuck in a class with no point in you again.
Clarity and Honeydew aren't in this class? Scuffle asked, as he and Dinky continued towards the classroom.
No.
Scuffle chewed his lip thoughtfully. That might be for the best, actually. It's pretty obvious Honeydew doesn't like me too much. He said, I've been trying my best not to upset her these last few weeks, but it's just a lot easier to be myself when she's not around.
Is that why you've been so quiet lately?
Dinky asked. Scuffle nodded. It just doesn't sit right with me, what I did to her. He admitted, I don't blame her. She has the right to be uncomfortable, I guess. Heck, I'm lucky that you and Clarity were able to give me another chance. It would have been too good to be true to expect all three of you to forgive me right away.
What about your brothers? Have they given you any more trouble?
Not lately, Scuffle said. Presto put up a magical roar around my room after a while, because it was obvious they were out to get me. It's kind of like the one around the Cole's residence tower that keeps fillies out, except it doesn't let any pony pass except for Presto and me. I still have to watch my tail when I'm outside the tower, though. At last, Dinky and Scuffle arrived at the door they were looking for, located at the very end of a long hallway at the back of the castle. Dinky pushed the door open, and was somewhat confused what he found on the other side. The room was clearly a classroom, but it wasn't what he was expecting. It was a circular chamber with a very, very high ceiling, but built entirely of darkly colored bricks. The room was lit by one half-charged illumination orb, and dozens of candles glowing faintly with bluish-purple flames. The desks were more like tables. Each had room for two foals to work instead of one, and at the front of the room was a wheeled blackboard, with somebody had written, Please choose a seat, in overly intricate cursive hoof writing. There were no decorations, nor were there any windows. Yuck, Scuffle grumbled. This classroom looks like it's probably looked the same for the last couple of centuries.
There aren't any windows, Dinky asserted. How are we supposed to do astronomy if we can't see the sky?
Scuffle rolled his eyes. This is probably another one of those stupid classes that's all study and no practice.
And why hold the class at night in the first place?
Dinky asked, bewildered. That stumped the colt. You know, I don't know, he answered. Anyway, these desks are for two ponies. I don't know any pony else here, so want to be partners or something? Dinky sighed.
Don't see why not.
The foal proceeded to one of the remaining open desks and sat down. The class remained relatively silent as a few final students entered the room and took their seats. Minutes passed. No professor arrived.
Do you think the professor's running late?
Dinky asked quietly. Scuffle rolled his eyes. Maybe he or she had the sense not to bother to come to this rat hole of a classroom. Suddenly, the room was filled with a grating metal on stone. Several students jumped in surprise and looked around for the source. An iron portcullis descended from the classroom doorway, reaching all the way to the ground in a matter of seconds, and thus sealing every pony in the room. Whoa, what? Scuffle yelled, standing up and giving the metal barricade a good shake. It's stuck! We're trapped in here! There was a loud, low rumble, and the whole chamber began to shake. Dinky clutched her desk for support, and Scuffle staggered sideways from the vibrations. After a moment, the entire floor began to move upward.
This whole thing is some kind of gigantic elevator,
Dinky gasped as the platform that held the entire classroom made its way up to the interior of the turret. She watched the sealed door, which remained at ground level, disappear entirely. So, now what? Scuffle asked, as he finally managed to return to his chair despite the shaking. Just keeps moving. Eventually we're being squashed against the ceiling.
This whole thing has to be purposeful, right?
Dinky asked. Once he felt as sure as he sounded.
This place is old, but it's still part of Celestia's academy. It's not like we're in some booby-trapped desert or something.
Several more moments passed. Soon the platform was only a dozen pony lengths from the ceiling. Still, it did not stop rising. Many of the students began to panic. Dinky, Scuffle murmured, if you're right about us not being in danger, then something kind of needs to happen. Right now! As if on cue, the seemingly endless ceiling suddenly parted. The two halves of the circular roof slid apart, leaving the wide, round opening. The platform continued to ascend into the open air, before finally coming to a shuddering halt when the floor became flush with the uppermost surface of the turret's walls. The view was fantastic. The classroom floor now sat atop of one of the highest towers in the castle. Dinky could see the rooftops of all the other wings of the huge, irregular building, as well as every structure built into the valley nearby. Most of the buildings were dark, but the windows of the distant residence towers glowed with the energy of dozens of illumination orbs. A balcony was built around the entire circumference of the raised classroom. At its edge was an ornate railing, functioning as the only barrier between the students and a dizzying plummet to the roof of the lower part of the castle, or possibly the valley floor. Telescopes and other astronomical instruments were set up around the balcony. Dinky looked at Scuffle, who appeared just as amazed as he felt. All right, I take it back. Not really a rat hole of a classroom after all.
There's one thing that still doesn't make sense, though,
Dinky pointed out.
Shouldn't the professor enter the classroom before it rose to the roof?
What's that? Everybody turned towards the student who cleared out, and followed his gaze skyward. A large silhouette appeared in front of the moon. His seat spread its wings wide, and began to ascend toward the tower. Dinky squinted at the shape, struggling to tell what it was as it approached. Soon, she could make out the familiar outline of a pony.
Wait a second, is that?
Dinky was cut off as the ascending figure gave up a burst of dazzling, deep blue magical light, revealing its identity to the students. The silhouette became a familiar midnight blue alicorn with a mane like the starry sky. Gracefully, she touched down on the stone floor next to the chalkboard. Good evening, my young students, she greeted loudly. I am Princess Luna, and I am to be your instructor for this astronomy course. There was a collective gasp. A few students quickly climbed out of their chairs and bowed before the princess. The rest followed suit. That will not be necessary, Luna said. While this is class in a session, I am a professor first and your princess second. Sister says this arrangement will put you more at ease during lessons. Luna cleared her throat as the students returned to their chairs. Now, I expect some of you may be feeling a bit surprised right now, she continued. After all, to my knowledge, no notification was given that I would be conducting this class. I have only been back from my extended stay on the moon for 2 years now, but Sister believes that I am prepared to take on teaching role once again. Oh, you've been a teacher role before, Princess? One filly asked. I know this academy is old, but I always thought it was established within the last 1,000 years. It was, Luna said matter-of-factly. Do not think that there was no such thing as magic study before the establishment of this academy. I aided many a scholar in astronomical study in Equestria's days of old, due to my connection with the night sky. In these recent years, I have been often regarded as the greatest modern authority in this subject on all the land. Luna lifted a piece of chocolate magic and tried it to the chalkboard. And on that note, I suppose we should get started, she announced. I take it none of you had any formal instruction in astronomy before, and so we shall begin at the beginning. Luna looked toward the pedestal holding the illumination orb, and instantly put out the light within. She then gave a mighty flap of her wings. the gust extinguishing all the candles and leaving only moonlight and starlight to light the classroom. There are two heavenly bodies in which almost all ponies are acutely familiar. What are they? Luna asked. No pony moved. This is not a trick question, Luna added. Just call out the answer if you wish. Dinky decided to chime in.
The sun and the moon, she answered.
Correct, Luna said, nodding. Each day, the sun and moon pass over Equestria, due to the continued efforts of Celestia and myself. Most pony knows that it's Celestia's sun to control the sun, and mine to control the moon. Lastly, this means Celestia reigns over the day, while I rule over the night. Luna paused, staring at the night sky pensively. While I cannot deny that I find the night preferable, I have come to realize the benefits of both night and day, she said finally. Astronomy, however, does not focus solely on the sun and moon. It is our study of all the heavenly bodies in the skies far beyond our fair Equestria, and how that energy affects the magic unicorns wield. Wait, the stars have a magic influence? A great cold asked. Luna nodded. It is for that very reason that unicorn scholars have taken such an interest on the subject. But systems of constellations and alignments of planets channel certain energies through the cosmos. Some spells are so powerful they can only be properly utilized when the astronomical conditions are correct. Scuffle raised her hoof, and the princess nodded in his direction. But can't you just say superstition of the stars? He asked. As princess of the night, I thought that would be another of your duties. For the first time since arriving, Linda smiled. I am afraid you are mistaken, my child, she said. I do not control the stars. They remain in place. It has become impossible to see during the day. Our celestial sun obscures my faint glow. It is because of the softer light of my moon that the stars become visible. But they are always there. And that's why it's easier to study astronomy at night, another filly said aloud. And why you're Equestria's greatest expert on it, right, princess? Luna smirked. Actually, my expertise comes primarily from the fact I was stranded on the moon for a millennium, with little to do but study the heavens, she said, chuckling. But yes, my knowledge was vast even before my imprisonment. The princess gestured to the telescopes on the balcony, surrounding the classroom. Before we can formally begin our investigation of the heavens, we must make sure you're familiar with the primary instrument we will need. There are more than enough telescopes for every pony. Choose one, and I shall help you learn to focus it properly and train it on distant targets with great precision. The foals stuck to their hooves and tried eagerly to the telescopes around the tower's perimeter. Dinky and Scuffle found two arranged next to one another and waited for the princess to continue. You know, Scuffle said quietly, this might be a really cool class.
I hope so,
Dinky replied as she peered through the lens of her telescope. Scuffle watched the filly fiddle with the device for a few moments. Hey, did you think you could help me out when I get behind?
When you get behind? Dinky asked. Not if. That's a pretty negative outlook.
Scuffle kicked at a loose brick in the floor. I'm not the best student, okay? I'm not exactly passing all my classes right now. My grade in practical magic has come up since I started working with your friends. But that's about it.
Dinky frowned. Maybe I can help, she offered. I'm not in most of your classes, but I can at least show you some study skills. You'd be ashamed to see you flunk.
Scuffle looked as he was about to reply, but after a moment decided to smile. I'll keep that in mind. For now, let's focus on astronomy.
Fair enough,
Dinky said, as Luna began calling his questions.
Now, hush. If we don't listen to the princess, we'll both be behind.
Silently, the two foals began to follow Luna's recommendations and focus their telescopes on the glimmering night sky. Dinky yawned as the classroom floor shuddered and descended back to the tower.
Man, it feels late, she mumbles.
Scuffle nodded. My brothers are probably asleep already. I should be able to get back to my dorm and class without any trouble from them.
You go ahead,
Dinky said as the classroom reached the ground level, and the porticos slid open.
I want to talk to Princess Luna a moment before I go back.
Scuffle nodded. Fine by me. See you tomorrow, Dinks. Don't stay up too late. Scuffle followed the rest of the foals out the floor, leaving Dinky alone with the princess. The mare continued to erase a diagram of a telescope on the chalkboard, seemingly unaware of Dinky's presence.
Excuse me, princess? Dinky asked. Can I touch you for a moment if you aren't too busy?
Princess Luna slowly turned around. At such close range, Dinky realized quite acutely just how big the princess was compared to her. Of course, child, Luna said. Was there something in my lesson that was not clear?
No, your lesson was fine, Dinky said. I actually wanted to thank you. It occurs to me you're part of the reason I'm even at this academy in the first place. And I've been waiting all turn to meet you and show you how grateful I am.
Princess Luna raised an eyebrow. Of what event do you speak? She asked, confused. Dinky opened her mouth to reply, but Luna cut her off. Wait, I think I may understand. I see a familiar pony in you. A pony who surprised me greatly with her selflessness. Tell me, child, are you about to tell me that you are Dinky, daughter of the Pegasus Dinky Doo?
Dinky grinned. So you do remember?
Luna smiled broadly. You really do resemble your mother, she said. Other Miss Doo and her co-workers helped me stop that saboteur for ruining the social event I had planned. She asked me to speak with Celestia about reconcerning your enrollment and qualification. I take your study with Twilight Sparkle went well.
Very well,
Dinky said, humping a place happily.
But it wouldn't have happened in the first place if it wasn't for you. So, well, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Luna chuckled. All I did was fulfill the debt I owed your mother, she pointed out. Dinky Doo was free to ask for whatever she wanted, and she chose to help you. If anyone, it is your mother who deserves the thanks.
Don't worry. I think Mom does us at times already,
Dinky assured her. You have with your words, Luna said, slightly more serious. But the greatest expression of thanks you can give, young Miss Doo, is in your actions. It is through your mother's sacrifice that you stand here today, and I am certain nothing would please her more than to see you make the most of this educational opportunity. Dinky nodded.
I understand, Princess. My mom's always given her all for me. I never do anything to let her down.
Your spirit resembles your mother's even more than your body, Luna commented. I expect you to see you continue to excel, Dinky Doo. Now go, it is late, and the filly must get enough sleep. Dinky replied with another yawn.
Can't argue with that. Goodbye, Princess Luna.
Dinky trotted across the dark classroom. She had one hoof out the door when she remembered something important.
Oh, Princess Luna, I almost forgot. Pipsqueak from Dunnyville says hi.
Luna beamed. Tell Pipsqueak that his favorite princess hasn't forgotten about him. I look forward to seeing him again someday.
I will,
Dinky promised.
Good night, Princess Luna.
Good night, Dinky Doo. The next morning began like any other Wednesday. Dinky, Clarity, and Honeydew woke up at the typical time, ate breakfast with Scuffle, and quickly attended their weekly enchantments class. Seen at the time, at least by the standards of Celestia's Academy for Gifted Unicorns, it'd be a very normal day. Soon it was mid-afternoon. Dinky and her friends were in the base of the Phillies' residence tower, where Clarity was once again practicing invisibility, and a whole full of other spells not connected to any classes.
So, how was astronomy?
Honeydew asked Dinky.
You got back so late last night, you didn't have time to tell us much of anything. Besides, that Princess Luna's the professor.
That alone, it must have been cool, Clarity says he struggled to amplify the partial translucency she managed to cast. I had a princess as a professor.
Princess Luna was a really good teacher, Dinky agreed. Scuffle and I both got our telescopes working pretty quickly and got to look at some of the formations on the moon. Scuffle's in that class?
Honeydew asked.
Suddenly, I'm not so jealous.
Dinky shrugged.
I don't know. I actually had kind of fun working with you last night. I'm happy for you, but I prefer to keep my distance,
Honeydew said, her expression wooden. Clarity's spell broke suddenly, and the filly groaned as her gray foot became opaque once again. I still can't get this, she grumbled. I think it's too dark in here, even with the illumination orb. We need some more light.
The only way to make it brighter is somebody lights the fireplace,
Honeydew pointed out.
But none of us know any fire spells. Fire spells?
Dinky recalled her last training session with Sunbeam. The fire spell he taught her did not produce conventional fire, but was easy to cast and to extinguish. The filly had no idea how Sunbeam had drawn the containment circle, but assumed that as long as the fire was starting inside the hearth, it wouldn't be a concern anyway.
Sunbeam doesn't want me to use these spells outside our practice sessions,
she thought. Clarity glanced at Dinky. Dinky's cooking up a plan, she announced. I can see it in her expression.
I actually do know a fire spell, Dinky admitted. It's an unusual one, though. I learned it from Sunbeam, but I told you before. You also keep the spells he's been teaching me a secret.
Clarity tapped a hook to her chin. Well, what if Honeydew and I looked away while you cast it? She suggested. You could keep your method a secret, and we still have some fire. Dinky thought bad.
I guess that's all right, she said finally. But don't think. Sunbeam will be upset if more ponies learn about these spells before the school wants them to.
Honeydew and Clarity immediately turned to face the opposite wall. Dinky walked up to the hearth and took up a deep breath.
Alright, here goes nothing. I'll let you know when it's done.
Fire floated to Dinky's horn, and the filly called forth a reserve of the alternate magic, awaited as her aura darkened to black. She began to prepare this fire.
Fire. I need to conjure that same hot fire.
The glow around Dinky's horn grew larger, and the magic, as it so often did, began to crackle and spark. Unleash the magic! Unleash the magic! Clarity's ears stood straight up. The filly visited nervously. She glanced at Honeydew, and noticed he looked equally concerned.
That isn't what I think it is it?
Honeydew whispered. Clarity bit her lip and waited. But the crackling sound increased. Although Clarity was certain there was no doubt what it was. Against orders, she turned around just in time to see Dinky fire a black glow of light into the hearth, creating black flame. The great filly's mouth dropped open. Dinky turned around and stabbed an indignant hoof.
What the heck, Clarity? I told you not to look. Sunbeam doesn't want anybody to know about this alternative magic yet.
Alternative magic? Clarity cried, flabbergasted. No, Dinky, that was... Clarity was cut off as the fire gave up a loud noise and began to consume not only the log Dinky had cast it upon, but the surrounding bricks. Within seconds, it spread across the hearth floor and began to work its way up the halls. Honeydew backed up against the far wall and gave Clarity's tail a yank, pulling the transfixed pony back with her. Dinky was stunned.
Sunbeam didn't say anything about this fire being able to light things that normal fire can't.
She thought frantically.
Time for an extinguishing spell. Don't worry, I can put it out,
Dinky announced, casting the spell she had used to smother the fire during her practice session. This time, however, it had no effect. All at once, Dinky understood. She turned to her friends, expressing fearful.
This isn't a normal fire and spell at all, she gasped. It seems safe enough when we practiced it, but I think it consumes everything unless it's contained within that symbol. And without the circle, I can't put it out.
By now, the fire had sneaked its way halfway out of the exterior of the brick chimney above the hearth. It groaned under the heat and shifted, and a large chunk of flaming brick broke free, toppling forward into the room and spreading the dark flames even faster. All three fillies screamed. Sparkler burst out of her room, looking around. Hey! She yelled. What's going on out? Sparkler stopped. It took a fraction of a second to look at first at the room, which was rapidly being taken over by dark flames. Then at Dinky, who had telltale wisps of purple around her eyes. Without wasting an instant, the overseer teleported away.
She's gone,
Honeydew squealed.
Now what do? We gotta get upstairs,
Dinky urged, pushing her friends toward the stairs, in an effort to put more distance between them and the roaring flames. What good will that do? Dinky asked desperately. In a few minutes, the fire will engulf the whole tower. We're all going to burn to death! That was as much as Honeydew could take. The pink filly swooned and collapsed on a rug in a dead faint. Dinky looked at Honeydew with magic, and just as the trio was about to make for the stairs, in the interest of prolonging their life by a few precious moments, Sparkler reappeared in a purple flash, carrying a huge beaten book in her aura. She placed herself between the fillies and the oncoming flames. Caraspell! Where's the Caraspell? The overseer cried, flipping through the book as quickly as possible. It's got to be one of these! Just as the leading edge of the fire began to lick at Sparkler's hooves, the young mare found what she was looking for. Purple magic flared around her horn, and then a second, larger cone of magic appeared around the first. Sparkler mumbled an incantation in an unknown language, and dozens of white spears of energy blossomed in her huge aura. Immediately, each of the shiny orbs began to fire forth hundreds of tiny white beams, striking the backfire like tiny lightning bolts. Each time one struck, the fire was beaten back a tiny distance. It took several minutes, and the combined efforts of over 300 Sparkler's maximal spears. But eventually, all the fire sprawling across the floor and sticking up the walls had been bending back to a space smaller than a pony's length. It continued to try to spread, but each time the spears bombarded it with white light, preventing it from moving. Sparkle's horn now cast a purple beam that burned a symbol into the already wrecked floor around the fire. A circle made of intergalactic triangles. Cautiously, the young man allowed the white orbs to flicker out, a sign of relief when the fire failed to extend beyond the boundaries of the ring. Her horn gave one final flash, and the circle glowed white, snuffing out the last of the flames. An instant later, there was a loud, grinding sound. Sparkle looked back as the rest of the chimney and hearth collapsed into a puddle of vile rubble. There was silence. No pony moved for a good 30 seconds. Sparkle stood in the center of the wrecked lobby, quivering and struggling to stand and breathing heavily. Dinky became aware that a number of ponies had heard or felt the commotion from upstairs, and were now standing on the steps behind Clarity, Honeydew, and her, all watching in a sort of stupor. Sparkle gradually seemed to catch her breath. Finally turned and walked over to the ponies gathered on the stairs. "Is she okay?" the overseer asked, gesturing to Honeydew. "Was she hurt by all this?"
"She just fainted,"
Clarity said, her voice barely audible.
"She'll be fine."
Sparkle nodded, then turned to some of the older buildings on the stairs. "Fifth turn students, please escort every pony else outside," she instructed. "They get some of the professors up here and inspect the damage and determine a course of action. I'll let the dean know myself. We need to make sure at least the upper part of the tower is livable by nightfall." The older ponies agreed and teleported to the base of the stairs. At last, Sparkle returned to Dinky, her face devoid of all expression. "And you," she said, "come with me now." Dinky tucked her tails between her legs and stared at the floor.
"Yes, ma'am."
Clarity and all the other students watched in total silence as Sparkle led Dinky out of the tower. After a long walk devoid of conversation, Dinky and Sparkle arrived at the dean's office. They proceeded into the waiting room, and Sparkle pointed to a chair. "Sit!" Dinky sat. Sparkle disappeared to the dean's chamber. It was quiet for a long time. In the unbroken silence, Dinky's thoughts began to race.
"What happened? Why didn't Equestria with its summoning teach me such a dangerous spell? If any of the other magic he's been teaching me is anywhere as dangerous as the Shredder's that was, well, who knows what trouble I may cause if I keep using it?"
She frowned.
"Is this somehow my fault? Or somehow you've been deceiving me about the purposes of these spells all along?"
Finally, the door opened. Sparkle started out and motioned for Dinky to enter. The filly hopped off the chair, but paused before entering the dean's office.
"Hey, Sparkle?"
"What?" Dinky pawed the carpet unashamedly.
"In the midst of all this trouble, it'd be wrong for me not to say thank you. You saved my life. You saved all of our lives."
Sparkle gave Dinky a long look. Then she turned to go. "The dean is waiting." And she was gone. Dinky swallowed hard and cautiously stepped into Bright Spark's office.
I'm here,"
she muttered. Bright Spark looked up from the mess of papers on her desk and nodded. "Well, don't stand there," she commanded. "Sit down. We need to talk of what happened." Dinky climbed to the chair across from the old mare. Bright Spark didn't seem to be seething with uncontrolled anger. There was a hint of something else in her expression, but the filly couldn't make out what. "Well, Dinky Doo," Bright Spark began, "it seems you're here because of a more serious offences of the school code than last time, namely, the use of strictly forbidden dark magic, a severe damages to the rest of the tower, and endangerment to the lives of dozens of ponies that resulted from its use. Before I even say anything more, I've got to ask, what do you have to say for yourself?" Dinky blinked.
"I'm afraid I don't follow, Miss Spark,"
she said slowly.
"I mean, the fire was my fault, but dark magic, is that the spell I used?"
Bright Spark rolled her eyes. "If you honestly think playing dumb will get you out of trouble, Miss Doo, then I clearly have overestimated your common sense," she said icily. "At the moment, I am baffled. I am racking my brain trying to think where in Equestria a first-time filly could have possibly learned how to cast any dark magic at all, let alone a spell of that caliber."
"I'm not kidding," Dinky insisted. So what you're saying is, those spells turn my magic black are dark magic?
Brightspark raised an eyebrow. Spells are more than one.
Dinky plants. No, I mean, hypothetically, that spell changes the color of my aura, so I assumed others like it could do the same.
Brightspark squinted through her spectacles. Then yes, those spells are classified as dark magic.
And dark magic is widely known for its destructiveness?
Dinky asked tentatively. Among other negative effects, Brightspark said, nodding. Its use is illegal. It is considered extremely dangerous by every major unicorn colony in Equestria. I'm sure you'll demonstrate for yourself why that is.
So Sunbeam was using me, Dinky realized. He's been teaching me forbidden, dangerous magic the whole time, and I fell for his excuses.
Brightspark leaned forward. No, there's no easy way out of trouble. I'm sure you got it, Miss Doo. But the best way to do it is to tell me where you've learned that spell. Immediately.
I learned it from another student,
Dinky yelled, making the dean jump.
I came from a family with no unicorns, remember? Never even knew there was such a thing as dark magic before the dean.
Brightspark looked more interested. Do tell, she prompted.
A cult named Sunbeam convinced me that dark magic was an experimental alternative type of magical energy that the professors were studying in secret, Dinky explained. He told me he was one of the few students helping with this study, and asked me to help him.
As soon as you guessed, there's no such program, the dean explained.
But that means Sunbeam is the one who's responsible,
Dinky said frantically.
I'll never use dark magic again now that I know what it is. It's him you want.
Brightspark stared at Dinky for several seconds. Describe this Sunbeam to me, she demanded.
He's a fresh-tuned cult with a yellow coat and orange mane, Dinky said quickly. His key mark is a ray of sunlight breaking through a dark cloud.
Brightspark stood and strode to her file cabinet, retrieved a file from one of the drawers and placed it on her desk, moving a photograph from it and placing it in front of Dinky. Is this him? Dinky only needed to glance at the picture to recognize the conniving cult that had played her.
Yes, that's him!
Brightspark snapped the folder shut with magic. Dinky, you've just ruined your alibi, she announced.
Wait, what? Dinky asked. I told you who was responsible, and you asked him. What's the problem?
The problem, Miss Doo, the dean said acidly, is that Sunbeam has been dead for 40 years. He perished in an unfortunate accident in my very first year as dean. I don't know how you found out about him, but choosing to incriminate him has only succeeded in solidifying your guilt.
But I've seen him, Dinky cried. I talked to him. I practiced what apparently was dark magic with him. He can't be dead.
Brightspark ignored Dinky completely as he returned Sunbeam's records to the cabinet and withdrew a different file. Manila folder flipped open as it landed on the desk, and Dinky found herself staring at her own image in a photograph. I must say, Dinky, Brightspark continued, you and I have been in disagreement since your arrival at this school, and I admit I have been waiting for a reason to incriminate you, but I never thought you'd blow it so spectacularly. It was at that moment Dinky finally recognized the mysterious look in Brightspark's eye. The dean was smug. She realized he finally cornered the filly and had such a grudge against. Slowly, the dean withdrew a paper from the depths of Dinky's file. It bore the royal seal, so Dinky was supposed it was the official record of her enrollment at the academy. You realize, of course, this leaves me no choice, the Dinky said, not even bothering to conceal her complacent grin. You've broken not only the most important rule of this academy, but the biggest rule of modern unicorn society as well. The dean reached over and opened a small metal box in the corner of her desk. She withdrew a rubber stamp coated in ink. For emphasis, he used her host, rather than magic, to slam it down on Dinky's document of enrollment. When she lifted it away, a huge red X covered the pace. I was wondering if I actually get the chance to say this, the dean said, tapping her front hose together and looking quite pleased with herself. As of this afternoon, Dinky Doo, you are hereby expelled for Celestia's Academy for gifted unicorns! Bum bum bum!